Hey, YouTube, welcome back to Super Lorcana World. It is your one-stop shop for everything Lorcana. And last week we got some cards revealed. We have 3 cards fully revealed, and we got 3 cards semi-revealed. We're gonna talk about the ones we can see and judge first properly, and then we'll go on the other ones after. And I like, back in the day, I used to release a video like every day a card came out, but I like this actually a lot better. I like this format where I take the whole, or at the start of the week, I take the whole prior week, look at all the cards we've got, and try to like come up with some really cool applications, see if they can work or if they're just garbage. But at least I sit on it for the week and all that. And I think that's important. I think it's important to spend the time and not just upload a clickbaity video right away. Because why not? And that doesn't add any real value to it. Actually take the time and marinate and think and all that kinds of fun stuff here. So we're going to do it up today. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Out of these new cards, which one is your favorite? Which ones do you think are the best? Which ones do you think are the worst? Please do advise in the comments what you think. And please like and subscribe because we're close to 1,000 subscribers and I want to get there. Yeah. All right. We'll start with Hypnotize. Hypnotize is a 3-cost inkable action that says each opponent choosing discards a card, draw a card. This is not a card you're going to play for the sake of playing. You're going to play it in your more emerald control-y hand discard decks. That's where you're going to play this card. Now, I like this card a lot in those decks. Anything else, kind of unplayable. Maybe a tech card here and there. But in a dedicated deck, this card is crazy. Because all of our discard cards right now don't do anything. They just discard cards. This card gains you a card. It's a +1. Because how it works is you play the card, it goes to the trash. The opponent's card goes to the trash. But then you get a new card. So you're not losing any number of cards to do this. And your opponent's losing 1. That's really good. That's incredible. And the fact that it's inkable, if you draw it and it's the wrong time to do it, is really good. Where a card like this shines is later in the game. When your opponent doesn't have a hand, maybe you time a really good turn when you sing the 2-cost green this emerald discard option, make them discard a card, and then you play You Have Forgotten Me in an emerald amber deck. All of a sudden they're down 3 cards, and then they're top decking. If they don't play the card, then you play this card and they discard it and you draw a card. If they play their cards every turn, then you ink this and you move on with your life. This card is really good in a control deck that focuses on having your opponent discard cards. If it does not, it's going to be very bad. But if you're building that deck, this is a fantastic addition to this. Really good card. The fact that it's inkable makes it even better. The fact that it's not a song is probably really good for card design, otherwise it'd be crazy. Moving along. Next card is Mulan, a non-inkable 4/3 for 1 lore rush. Princess. This matters. This is another aggro tool. Like, this is something that can immediately hit the board and aggro out any 4 defense characters that are suspended, or anything that's already gotten damage on it. Rush is really nice. With Princess synergy, it could see some play. But the card itself is not really that good. Like, you're not building a build-around Mulan deck unless we get some kind of like shift Mulan that's nuts. We'll play this. The extent of this card, it might be a very niche aggro application in an aggro deck, or you might build a Princess build-around deck with this card in it as a nice rush to deal with aggro situations. Besides that, the card is not that good, in my opinion. Next, Cinderella. All right, hold on 1 second. Keep in mind that we've already got a Cinderella revealed when the reveal started. It's a shift for 5. Just keep that in mind. A shift for 5 that already has resist 2. Whenever you play a song, this character may challenge ready characters that turn. And it's a 5/5 that quests for 3 anyway. Card's very good. Okay. Let's talk about this Cinderella now that we know that this can just easily shift into another bigger Cinderella if you want to. So it's a 2-drop inkable 2/2 that quests for 1. Its ability Have Courage is when you play this character, you may draw a card, then choose a disc and discard a card. It's a looter. It does what Tinkerbell does, but instead of exerting it to do so, and by the way, I guess that would make it a once per turn thing, this is a once when you play the card thing, and it gives you loot. And loot is cool. The fact that it's a 2-drop as well is reasonable. This card has reasonable stats for what it is. It's also a princess, so it really helps with that princess synergy. The more and more I see steel princesses and stuff like this, the more that I look at like the Amber Moana and think that things could get really, really, really interesting with a steel Amber princess build-around deck, mid-range type situation in the second set. When I see cards like that, it further enhances my theory. You won't really play this card unless you're either playing that princess build-around deck or some kind of steel aggro. You won't play it if you're not playing any of those things. But if you are playing those things, this card is a really good tool for those decks and something you should expect to see. And that's it. That's all I got for that card. Card's reasonably decent. Nothing else to say about it. Let's talk about the promos. So obviously we know what Cinderella does, and we know that these will probably be released in the main set. Let's talk about what we know from these cards based on what we can see. So we know Cinderella, that's great. All right, Bucky. Bucky is a squirrel, a 2-cost inkable squirrel. We do not know its stats. I'm assuming based on what this card does, it probably only quests for 1, and it probably has some kind of mediocre stats. We won't know until we know. But this card's really, really good. It has Ward first of all, so it can only be challenged. And then its ability Squeak, when you play a Floodborn, it probably says when you play a Floodborn, I'm assuming by the space on the card, it could be character, but also could be ally. We don't know until we know. Whenever you play, we'll assume it's whenever you play a Floodborn character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. That's really good. So we were talking about the Hypnotize card, right? This card. We got another tool for another discard deck. You could play a discard control deck with a bunch of Floodborns and do some serious discard control. It's also not once per turn. So if you're playing some really cheap Floodborn cards, if that's also your build around, you can make an opponent discard a lot of cards on one turn. You can just do that. It's a thing you can do. This card, we will not know how good it is until we know what other Floodborn cards exist. And until we get the full text on the card. This card has the upside of being amazing. I don't see a lot of downside with it. If we do a quick little search, I wonder if we can search Floodborn. Yes, we can. In the game right now, these are our Floodborn characters, right? They are typically pretty expensive, but they shift. That's the theme. All these Floodborn characters, they shift. They are expensive cards that can shift, which means they're very cheap to play later, but require some kind of single drop investment. And that's what these cards are, right? You have a bunch of shift 3s in the game. You got some shift 2s now because of the second set. That's called power creep, by the way, just in case you guys weren't aware of that term. And yeah, there's a very good chance that Emerald Amber discard at control is still a thing next set, still a thing now. And you play cards like the Queen that literally shift 2. That's crazy. But we don't know what we're going to get yet. We don't know. I think this card is going to be good. I think this card is going to be meta, but we won't know until we know more cards. All right, fair enough. Moving along. Minnie Mouse. This is a 4-drop that can shift for 2 Floodborn. It has Evasive, and it has Undersea Adventure. Whenever you play a something action in a turn, this character gets... I'm assuming this is a plus sign. You can kind of see another line here to the plus sign. I'm assuming it's +2 lore. We're going to work under the assumption that it's +2 lore. I've been doing that. I know a bunch of people around me have been doing that. If anyone has evidence to say otherwise, let me know. But anyway, so what would... I'm looking at it the opposite way. If it said -2, you're okay. then that would mean it has some kind of crazy lore value over here. And you just either wouldn't play actions, or you would just quest first and then do your stuff. Like, it doesn't make much sense. So, operating on the assumption this is a plus sign, +2 lore this turn. We don't know its stats. This card, again, has the upside to be crazy. We need to know the rest of the card. What kind of action is required for Minnie Mouse to be good? But I see this card being very, 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 very strong, depending on what's missing here. I assume it has 1 lore, and I assume it has pitiful stats like 2, 3 or something for a 4-drop. Don't forget, you can shift it for 2, so turn 1 Minnie Mouse, the Amber one, and a turn 2 Minnie Mouse. Maybe that's something. It's also not a princess. The other Minnie Mouse, I believe, is a princess, I think. Very, very high upside on this card again, and we'll see what happens with it. And then the last card today goes to Robin Hood. Robin Hood is a 2-drop uninkable, something for something, with an exert that says deal 1 damage to, I assume it means target character. I'm assuming. To chosen character or whatever. You know, potentially very good card at dealing with aggro decks. Very bad against resist. And don't forget, we have a Robin Hood that can shift, right? We do have that, right? Oh, I thought we did. I'm lying. Forget everything I just said there. We don't have a Robin Hood with shift. But we do have maybe a Robin Hood that will come in and shift on top of this. We just don't know. Dealing 1 damage or something could matter. It could come up in decks that could take advantage of damage, like, you know, freaking, what's the card's name? The Beast, the green beast that can attack damaged things. Or maybe it's just extra damage so that when you play swords, you can do some stuff. Like, there's all sorts of random applications you can do with this card. I think it's the worst card out of all the cards we've seen today, except for Mulan. Wherever Mulan went. I don't think Mulan is very good. I think this is the second worst card. I think everything else is pretty reasonable to very playable, high meta. And that's it. That's it for my review of the cards that got announced last week. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.